Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Got a kind of an interesting thing to talk about this week, and it's really the relevance of these micro compact 9mm and 380 guns faced with some of the new things that are out today. So if you look at concealed carry over the years, it's evolved a lot. It started out with a lot of really small calibers, 25s and 32s, as being the smallest thing you could get, and even those guns weren't super small. And then manufacturers started making really small guns, kind of the size of this LCP, in those small calibers, 25 and 32. And then it kind of evolved into 380 being pretty much the standard for the smallest gun that you're going to get and carry. And then the single stack 9s became a really popular thing. Many companies came out with them. And most of these hold in the 6 to 7 round territory. All of the ones that are on the table here today actually hold 6 rounds, plus of course one in the pipe, so you get a total of 7 rounds. And there's different flavors. But then came some of the bigger contenders. The SIG P365 and the recent M&P Shield Plus that take that 9mm single stack and turn it into a 10, 11 round capacity in flush mags. So that kind of is a game changer, especially for the 9mm territory, which makes you then wonder, why would you get one of these other very little guns? And believe it or not, these things actually are still really relevant, but they become more specialized cases of where you would use something like this. These become a little bit more the mainstream. And then, of course, you always have the question, well, why would I bother with something like this P365 or the Shield Plus when I can get a subcompact, a classic double stack subcompact like the Glock 26 or any of those? And really it's because they're thin. They tend to be very, very thin, and they're comparably light compared to those guns. So the P365 that's in my hand with an empty mag is 18.5 ounces, and right behind it I've got the Shield Plus that is 20.2 ounces, again with an empty mag. Now of course these are 9mm, so when you load them up with their full capacity, you're going to have the weight of the ammo. These are going to, fully loaded, the ammo is going to add less weight because, of course, there's less ammo, 6 rounds as opposed to 10 or 11. Now, theoretically, it's round for round the same. So if you were to load those to the larger guns to 6 rounds, then the added weight of the ammo would be the same. But who's going to do that? If you're going to carry this thing and you're going to take a little bit extra size and space, you're going to fully load it. That's why you've got it. But if I set this on my hand, you'll see that it kind of comes out to the end of my middle finger and comes into the center of my thumb, but the grip hangs off. If I have it, see, I've got it kind of lined up with my top finger. The grip kind of hangs off. If I take this LCP, do the same thing with it, line it up. Number one, it comes to the end of my pointer finger, and if it weren't for this little pinky extender, it would actually fit entirely on the palm of my hand. And this little critter weighs 10.02 ounces with an empty mag. So there is really what's the kind of the big thing for these. If I pick up the car's a little bit bigger, but it still fits within the length basically of my pointer finger, and the grip does hang off just a hair. And this thing weighs 11.3 ounces. So there are cases, especially where it's getting into summer, it's going to be vacation time, you're going to go to the beach, you're going to go various different things where you're going to be out running around all day, and you may not be dressed in multiple layers of clothes and a shirt that hangs out and an undershirt that can kind of conceal something larger, or even a larger thing like a Glock 19 or any subcompact or compact gun that you might carry. So now you're going to start to be faced with, okay, we're going to go walk on the beach, or we're going to go to the pier, we're going to go fishing today, we're going to go in a public area. Obviously, if you're going to go out in the woods fishing, many states have open carry while hunting and fishing, so you strap whatever you want on. But now I'm going to go to a public pier. Down here in Florida, of course, it's an hour and a half, give or take, from anywhere in Florida to someplace where there's salt water, pretty much for the most part. So it's easy to just get a wild hair and decide, I'm going to go to the beach this weekend. So I might carry something like this, because I can stick this pretty much anywhere. I can drop it in a pocket. Look at it, I mean, anywhere I can put my hand, I can put this gun. Ankle gun. And it's something that you could actually theoretically hide with, loose-fitting pants. And if you were wearing sweats or jogging or something like that, this wouldn't necessarily pull your sweats down like this would. Just the weight of this is, even though this isn't a heavy gun comparably, but there's enough weight here and enough moving mass that if you try to carry this thing in a little clip holster in sweats, you're going to quickly be finding the sweats hanging around your knees. As you get into the 9mm, like this Diamondback DB9, or I've got a Kahr PM9 over here, they're getting a little bit bigger. So I'm kind of fitting in the length of my middle finger if I line it up correctly and line it up with the top. And it's not coming into the cover of my thumb anymore. But as you can see, the grip is hanging down. Now, if there were a flush base plate available and it ended right about here, then it wouldn't hang down quite as much. I haven't added a huge amount of weight. I'm at 13.4 ounces. So the weight is going to be the thing that would make something like this DB9 still be a gun that you might want to carry, because with the lower weight, and it's really thin, you're going to potentially be able to carry something like this when otherwise you might not carry. And it's not that you wouldn't want to carry, it's that nothing you've got is going to fit into that. It's kind of similar story with the Kahr. You know, if I line it up, kind of this one here comes out to the end of my middle finger and really ends here in the right around my thumb. And yeah, the grip hangs off a little bit. And then this is 16.09 ounces. So you've got just a little bit more weight. The two 9s are comparable, but they're still significantly lower weight than something like the Shield or the P365. So that weight difference is going to really is where it's going to come up to. And of course, all these weights that I'm kind of throwing around are with an empty mag, with the flushest empty mag that the manufacturer offers. Some of them come with a pinky extender, and that's that. Some come with a pinky extender, and you can swap the base plate out. And I used my regular scale to weigh all these all at the same time. So I don't want this to turn into a numbers show, but weight and capacity are two numbers that are highly relevant in concealed carry. Not so much when you're doing inside the waistband and you're wearing multiple layers of clothing, where you can cover pretty much anything. Unless the grip is 3 feet long, you can pretty much carry whatever you want. A belt does a really good job of supporting the weight of a pistol. So this comes into more, we're getting into summer. And when summer, you're going to shed all those layers. Whether you're down in Florida where it's pretty much hot year-round, or whether you're up in a northern state and it's getting warm, or you're going to travel. It's the crisis is ending. People are starting to travel again. You're going to want to start going to the beach again, and you're going to start looking to see, can I carry in this situation with what I'm wanting to carry? This is great for a regular inside the waistband carry, but even holding it in my hand and kind of moving it around, I can feel the weight of it. It's not a really heavy gun, but I just feel the weight of it as I move it around. I pick this thing up. This probably weighs less than a loaded mag for that Shield Plus. The weight is, you don't feel that reciprocating mass as you move it around. So overall, really, I don't think this category of gun, these little micro compact single stack 6 to 7 round capacity guns in either 380 or 9mm, are completely eclipsed by these modern wonders. Now, I still think this is, having a basically what equivalent of a single stack gun. If I kind of compare some of the thicknesses, you'll see that it's not a whole lot thicker than the Kahr. So the PM9 is what I picked up. It's not a whole lot thicker than the Kahr. In fact, it actually, due to the beveled slide at the top, it actually looks like it might be a little bit thinner, but they're roughly the same. So you've got these single stacks that are actually pretty impressive. This concept of having this kind of double stack to single concept that both this gun and the P365, which does the same basic concept, it's pretty innovative, and I think it's really cool. And I do believe that these have made larger single stacks less relevant, because with the added capacity, why wouldn't you? So for example, why would I get a Shield when I can get the Shield Plus and the gun is basically the same size? But that doesn't help me when I need something really small, because that's what I want to carry. Sweats, ankle, or even I'm just going to tuck it into the minimalist amount of clothing that I'm going to wear for whatever it is I'm going to do. And I don't want this to become an issue. I don't want it to print. I don't want it to be pulling down on the edge of things. And I don't want it to get away. I don't want it to get loose and end up being, on the ground in front of somebody and, create a little bit of a stir, especially in today's kind of situation. These little 380s, these have been around for a while. The 380s in this size is not really new. But I do believe that this has completely eclipsed 25 and 32's usefulness. 380 is not the most powerful round on the planet, but I sure don't want to be the spot that one of them stops moving. And it definitely is effective, especially when you get into the summer where you're not dealing with multiple layers of clothing. And 380 being a center fire is significantly more reliable than 22 being rimfire. And about roughly the same gun. If I take the LCP 22, it's basically the same size as this LCP 380. So for a defensive perspective, the 380 is definitely the way to go. If you've got a little bit more room, but you're still constrained, you can move up to something like the DB9 or the PM9 or any number of these single stack, small, compact, super compact, usually shorter barrels, 9mm, and they're going to be equally effective. Obviously, if I knew I was going to be in a gunfight and there was nothing I could do about it and I couldn't avoid it, I'd want to do it with a Barrett from 2 miles away. You don't necessarily know when you're going to be into an unpleasant encounter, and if you don't carry because whatever you got doesn't fit, so let's say I'm going to be in sweats and this is all I got and I can't carry today because it's going to pull my sweats down, even if I underload the mag, which is kind of a waste. If I've got the 10 round capacity, why wouldn't I fully load it to take advantage of it? But at that point, I could carry something like this, and I can carry. And I think that's the biggest thing. The most powerful gun on the planet doesn't do you a world of good if it's sitting in your safe. So are these little micro compact 380s and 9mm irrelevant? Definitely not. Are these stack and a half or almost double stack new guns completely cool and actually will probably take over the space that a lot of other guns previously? I would carry this potentially over a regular double stack subcompact. Yeah, these have a place, and these are really going to disrupt that conventional concealed carry. But there's always going to be a place for a tiny little thing that you can just kind of stick anywhere. So in summary, make sure you've got something in your selection of carry options for every carry circumstance that you're going to encounter, whether it's beachwear and sweats, or whether it's more conventional concealed carry. It's more important that you carry, and that you carry something that's functionally reliable, than that you have the biggest, baddest thing available that's fun to shoot at the range and show your buddies, but ends up with you not carrying most of the time and leaves you kind of exposed. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, kind of everywhere. Thank you.